Peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Shalom, shalom. This is your boy, your host, Truth Seeker, here with another video, another reaction video. Gonna be reacting to part two of the Brother Polight Exposed. And I reacted to the first one, and for these videos have been out for a few years now, and he has since been sentenced. So I think he's like maybe 3 years in of his 7 year bid if he doesn't get flopped. But before I do my reaction, I just want to point out, just where are the fathers to these little girls, right? Because Brother Polight is one of many people who claim to be this leader, you know what I mean? And truth be told, like he's a cult leader. And you got so many of them pastors, false teachers, false people in the church, elsewhere. You know, we know about. I'm gonna do a reaction on this one about exposing Islam because there is this big misunderstanding that just because you preach a certain doctrine that excuses you from being corrupt. But my biggest thing is where are the fathers, right? Because as a father who has kids, one being a daughter, you know, I'd be damned if I send them anywhere without me being there, especially if it's concerning another grown ass man. No, no. And for you weak fathers out there who make excuses for people like this, you deserve to do your bid, do that same bid with them, if not worse. You know what I mean? And I'm just so sick of the weak fathers out here that don't step up and protect their children. I'm fed up with it, man. I think for those people who get sentenced, for the predators that get sentenced, these weak fathers and I mean mothers too, you're not exempt. The only reason why I'm addressing the father because I'm a father. But yeah, this that whole thing with these uh parents sending their children or being a part of these cults without even having a glimpse or having even the slightest idea of what you're getting into. And you know what's even more sad is these fathers are looking at these people and these other men and worshiping them too. They getting down on their knees, no pun intended, and they over here will go to will fight to the death for these fools. Will fight to the absolute death. And then they sit here and then when the shit hit the fan, then all of a sudden they want to act all like, oh, I didn't even know. And then that's when they want to beef up and be like, you know what I'm saying, now that all the attention is on them. But you knew about it. Matter of fact, even if you didn't know about it, you still allowed your minor kids, minor daughters, minor sons, and that goes for a lot of for these churches as well. And y'all not exempt into these rooms, into these uh services without y'all even being there. And it's a burden that these kids got to carry throughout their life, and you got to carry it too because you that guilt. And the thing that really sets my soul on fire is the fact that A lot of adults are so filled with pride that they still won't even admit. Just like these other fools out here that are getting caught with these allegations and these assault charges and these abuse charges, you know what I'm saying? They got to deal with in prison, but you got to carry that burden of guilt because you allowed your child to be that victim. They didn't know, and they probably, matter of fact, they did know, and they probably even tried to tell you, and you still didn't do nothing because you were so wrapped up being wrapped up with your head up these other fools' asses. And God is going to exalt judgment on y'all as well. Matter of fact, the worst judgment because what their punishment is physical. They getting sentenced to prison, locked up and throw away the key. And then not only that, they got to deal with the inmates that find out what you did. So I'm pretty sure Polite, unless they probably got him in solitary confinement or he locked up in the hole or something like that. But that's 7 years of a beat down or worse that's coming his way, if it hasn't came his way already. But that's on him. He got to bear that. But as for the fathers and mothers out here that allowed their kids to be associated to be dragged into this, and then they going on camera like, "I never thought I trusted you." You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. Like, this stuff got to stop, yo. This stuff got to stop. Now, out of respect, it is kind of early, so I'm not gonna raise my voice, but you get the picture. But without further ado, let me share my screen.
And said, the meeting with Polight wants to speak to you. The conversation was about that we were supposed to be having was about the bills of the house, and that the bills needed to be paid. And you're not going to sit here and continue to squat, you know what I'm saying, when bills are literally piling up in my name. Now, my brother, he's a very devoted Muslim. He's born and raised Muslim. He said, I'm going to go downstairs and see what he wants. So that was originally the conversation that we were supposed to be having. It never happened. Instead, all I heard was shots.
One of the brothers got shot in his head.
My brother got shot twice in the head. Yes, my brother got shot in the head twice. It dismembered his ear and dismembered certain parts. I don't like to even think about it because I was the person that pulled him inside of the house. And I watched my brother bleed all over the floor.
And
watch this. I'm going to launch a business in 60 seconds using Shopify's AI Sidekick. No coding, no design skills, just a conversation. Timer starts now. So I'm starting a skincare line. I need a store that looks clean, modern, premium. I'm just going to tell Sidekick that. Scene, layout, the whole look, done. No coding required. Sidekick just built it from a sentence. Now I need to add my products, but I only have phone pics on my bathroom counter. Guess who can help? Place this on a marble countertop with soft, natural lighting. Phone photo to studio shot. Sidekick, who are you? Okay, so my store is built and it looks great. Now let's get it up and running. Help me connect my domain and set up payments. Sidekick just walked me through the part where most people quit, and I'm launched. Time is up. Did it all in under 60 seconds. Now I need to start selling. Guess who can help me find customers where they already shop? Start for free. Your store's waiting.
because I called for the meeting to have with the brother, and he got shot very shortly after the meeting. Of course, I was blamed for the shooting.
It was him and his friend Water and some other guy named Hernandez. It was some Puerto Rican dude that was with him, another really dark-skinned brother. I don't know these people, offhand, but when I see their face, I know all these people's faces for sure. They were the only ones that had guns that obviously shot my brother inside of the bookstore. As soon as I heard the shot, my first instinct was to run downstairs. I don't know why that was my first instinct, but my first instinct was to run downstairs. I ran downstairs and opened the door to the bookstore and seeing Polight standing right there, him and his friend Water standing right there. I grabbed my brother because he was stumbling. I didn't realize what was really happening. He was stumbling. He stumbled on me, and when you look at the door is like the door to the actual house is like right there next to the store. So I grabbed him inside of the house. I ran upstairs to, potentially to call the cops, ambulance, all of that. And I'm looking at my window and I see Polight running across the street to one of my neighbor's house, throwing away, taking off his shirt and his hat and everything, literally throwing it in their trash.
I was locked up September 19th or something to that effect. But I wound up being released for that one October 31st. Halloween. I didn't know I was going to be released. The brother refused to testify.
These people continued to threaten my life pretty much the whole time, even after him being incarcerated for the short period of time for the attempt murder.
I was locked up for dismemberment, then they changed it to attempted murder. But needless to say, they tried to subpoena a lot of people. A lot of people wouldn't tell or speak on the event. And I just think it's a blessing because, I'd say for the record, I'm innocent. You know what I'm saying?
The only reason it was dropped was because I was continuously being harassed by the entire organization every day.
Once this situation rolled over, I really decided I had to separate myself a little more from the gangs.
At some point after his release, Brother Polight would meet Dr. Sebi in person for the first time. By this time, he had been following years from a distance, but now he was finally able to thank him face to face for his herbal regimen that he claimed healed the gangrene in his foot. Over the next year or so, the two of them would become good friends, and Dr. Sebi would eventually loan him $15,000 to start a vegan restaurant.
He helped me get my restaurant in Bushwick, Brooklyn. It was called Our Line of Alkaline. And so at the Our Line of Alkaline restaurant, people was coming far and wide. He invested $15,000 in me. When he heard me articulate my healing process, he said, man, I never was he always accredits the healing to nature. He never took the credit. But he said, man, I never seen nature heal somebody who can articulate the process the way you have. Stop cutting that damn okra, shut that restaurant down and teach.
Years later, during the rise of his notoriety, Brother Polight will have the honor of introducing Dr. Sebi during his last lecture in Los Angeles.
Thank you. Give it up again to Brother Polight.
Has Kyra texted you back?
I don't want to talk about it.
How was the math test?
Don't want to talk about it.
Prior to shutting down the restaurant to embark on his teaching endeavors, Brother Polight had brought a new wife into the relationship, which now made wife number 3. Her name was Lorena, but she was later known as Anuket. Anuket was a single mother of 3 kids, 2 daughters and a son. Her oldest daughter, Tazane, who would later be known as Renente, will be an interesting part of this story later on. Shortly after closing the restaurant and starting to teach, Brother Polight would also start writing books. By the time of his arrest, he had authored over 90 books, ranging from everything from healthy eating to real estate. He would later start a company named New Covenant, and this is when he would begin soliciting his followers.
All right. I'm gonna pause right here real quick just to add something. You know, one thing, and that's another example here. I mentioned that in the first video, but a lot of these books that, and I'm not saying that he didn't write these books, I'm not saying that, but a lot of people were complaining because they would try to order these books to not get them. They spend all this money on these classes and these books that these false teachers and these what they call pseudo, these regular human beings who obviously don't even, what I'm saying, well, claim that they know what they're talking about, and to get scammed, right? They get all these people, they get into all these heads, and that's why it's so important. That's why the Bible tells us to be rooted into our faith and be mature and become mature in our faith, so we're not rocking back and forth because we're over here, we're over there, we lukewarm. You know what I'm saying? Because we listen to these fake prophets out here, and the thing is these people getting scammed, and they coming out with all of these videos and all that about how exposing, you know, oh yeah, this person is a scammer. I mean, not just him. You got you had Young Pharaoh, you had Umar Johnson, who's still talking about this school. He's been talking about this school for a decade. You know what I'm saying? Asking for donations. I think the only thing that they had, matter of fact, this somebody actually went to the building where Dr. Umar. I don't even think he's really a doctor. Matter of fact, I can't. I don't know for sure if he's really a doctor. You know what I'm saying? I know you have to have like some sort of degree, but but yeah, somebody went to the building where he actually where this school's supposed to be, and it's still not open. Uh, so he had like so he holds a doctorate in psychology. Okay, for mental health. So he is a doctor. I mean, don't get me wrong. The brother speaks well. He seems very educated. I mean, he is very educated because it seems like he is, says he is a doctor. But and that's the thing, man. And these people and people say that these gangbangers and drug dealers are making our people look bad. It's not just them. It's these people here who claim to be righteous and they are scamming our people. And our people are just so naive and gullible that we look at this person as a black messiah and we fall into the wayside, and then we're mad when they show their horns, when they show us that they're the devil inside them. That's when we'd be like, oh, they, what I'm saying, ah, man. But these people have such a strong fan base, or did have a strong fan base, and such a loyal follower of our people, to where that will go to bat, that will go to war for these idiots. That and they know that they can just, if you can speak well and you can talk fast, you can say just about anything that'll go over everybody's head. And these people know that. These people know that, you know. And the thing about and here's the thing, because they mentioned something in the video here that he and this at this point in this video, he was on his third wife. I'm not sure exactly how many wives this man had, but I know, him as well as other people in that whole conscious community practice polygamy. Here's the thing about polygamy, y'all, that some people just don't that need to understand. Because this was Solomon, the King Solomon in the Bible, this was his downfall, right? And he was the wisest king, the most wisest king. but he had 700 wives and 300 concubines. And because of that, and he had all these different foreign women, he got introduced to their traditions and their ways and their paganisms, and his heart turned away from what was important, and that was the Most High. And this is a clear example in today, because when we're dealing with polygamy, and no, I don't do polygamy, none of that kind of stuff. But when you deal with polygamy, see, people look at it as, oh yeah, I got all these women, I have all these women to my disposal, and I can, what I'm saying. And it's a deeper connection. And then on top of that, you have to care for one like you care for the rest of them. And that means if they have children, you got to care for their children, or the children that you have together. There is no hierarchy in polygamy. You have to treat them all on the same even playing field. And it's not just about a sexual thing. You know what I'm saying? You have to deal with all of that. You have to take care of all of the needs. And I'm not saying that he didn't. Well, clearly he didn't. He was just being, in this right here, is he became greedy. He became money hungry. All the devils that he took with him in the past, he didn't clear them. He just disguised them in in a different light. Like the Bible says, even the devil disguised himself as an angel of light. That's why it's so important for us to be girded into the Bible. That is so important. Why we need to be rooted. We shouldn't be putting our faith in man. We need to be putting our faith in God. And this is the result of what happens when you put your faith in men. This is what happens when you put your faith in devils like that. Because now you're on the witness stand, crying your eyes out, talking about I didn't even know. And that's the thing too, is people, they, and I mentioned this in the first reaction, is they're not surprised that these people did it. These women that's with these men, you know what I'm saying, whether abusers or what, is they see they devils. They see what they do to other people. But as long as they're not doing that to them, they don't even care. They're cool until it happens to them. And then all of a sudden, that's when they want to be all, oh, I'm a sue you for everything you got and do all this kind of stuff. I'm like, no, you watch this go down. And it was only a matter of time before he directed his devilish ways towards you. That's the thing, man. People need to wake up, man. People need to wake up. If this ain't a wake up call now, then I don't know what is. But we living in end times, man, and it's only gonna get worse. It's only gonna get worse. There's no other gospel. Anybody who preaches outside of the gospel that's in the Bible, let him be under God's curse. They cursed, and you see it. You see it. It's all in the Bible. All these people are preaching the black woman is God. They God is black women, but they're not even honoring their women. So that's hypocritical right there. They talking about all this uh, uh, alkaline diets and all this kind of stuff. And don't get me wrong, right? Don't get me wrong. I practiced veganism um, for a while, and it's great perks. Don't get me wrong. I veganism, if that's especially if your body can't process certain meats. I'm not talking about pork, none of that kind of stuff. I don't do pork. I don't do lobster. I don't do shrimp. I don't do no type of bottom feeders, no catfish, no none of that. But I know sometimes like for red meat in particular, um, how your body, eating too much of it is still not good for you. But veganism, the only thing you got to do is just find your source of protein. That's important because as long as you have a good protein intake, then you're fine. But I'm not against the vegan diet or alkaline diet. It's actually really good for you. But I'm not opposed to eating healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously, eating healthy promotes, longevity in your body. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, like these people, they have some type of knowledge, you know what I'm saying? But they're selfish with it because they're only looking for for that coin. They can give a damn about you or your pockets or your family for that matter. They just tell you whatever sounds good and make and what you think you want to hear. But and in reality, all they care about is how can I scam the next sucker? And now you mad because you the sucker. So People need to start humble. We need to start humbling ourselves, uh, owning up to our showing us owning up to our accountability, and turn away from these so-called leaders and start following the ways of the Most High. Even even uh, the Messiah said there is nobody good but God. You can say what you want to say. You can have your opinions about the Bible, or you know what I'm saying. But I look at it like this: the Bible, you read Proverbs. The Bible teaches how shows you teaches you wisdom. All the stuff that people do, gossip, be wicked. The Bible says bad company corrupts good character, and you see how all these people have the surroundings of these people who lie, cheat, and steal. They just taking those ways and disguising them. They're not, like I said, they're not getting rid of them devilish ways. They're just disguising it as something else that make it sound better, so they can be more deceitful. And if you just happen to be that gullible fool, you will fall right into their traps every single time. The Bible teaches us that we shouldn't be around those type of people. The Bible says, "Blessed is he does not walk in the path of the wicked or sinners. Blessed is he who hunger and thirst for righteousness." Everything that they're showing here that I'm reacting to is all promoting wickedness. Not a righteous bone in their body. It's just unfortunate that the only victim that in this whole thing is that little girl, or these minors that are affected. But it's more specific. He got charged for this little girl, for the abuse of this little girl, 14. That's the only one that I pray for. She's the only one I pray for, and I pray to God that it wasn't any other minors, because this is just the one we know about. Who knows if there was others? And not to mention, he has a daughter. I think she probably about 16, 17 now. She might be a little. I think she might be an adult, but uh, uh, but still, I think when this whole thing came about, she was still a minor. But yeah, the mothers and all the other people, I can give two what's about y'all, for real. I don't care about y'all. I damn sure don't care about Polite. I damn sure don't care about uh uh all these so-called woke people that talks about, yeah, I'm here to wake our people up. You ain't waking nobody up. You scamming our people. You scamming people. You're not for righteousness. Maybe in your book, whatever that book is. But the only one that I pray for and pray that she gets the help that she needs is that little girl, because she didn't deserve none of that. And it's just a shame that she didn't have a strong enough people in her corner to protect her and defend her, like a lot of these other wicked ass pastors and teachers and these false prophets do. Don't have strong enough fathers, and don't have strong enough people in their corner. Period, to protect them when they should have been protected. And then when these children become grown, they have all these harmful spirits in them. They carrying around this baggage that they didn't even deserve because you wasn't strong enough to protect them. Though that's who my heart goes out to. Because I'd be damned if that was any of my kids. I'm for real. I'd be in prison doing more time than Brother Polite if that was my daughter. Matter of fact, I ain't even worried about it, because she wouldn't even be in that situation. She won't go near you with a 99.5 foot pole, 199.5 foot pole. You know what I'm saying? Like all these babies out here that's suffering from this abuse, and this is just like I'm about to fire. You know what I'm saying? Because this right here, nah. Mm-mm. Nope. Nope. I pray that for these weak fathers out here that aren't don't have a backbone to protect their children, you know what? I pray that they never come in contact with any of that kind of stuff. Because as long as there's men like me in this world and other men who stand for righteousness and protecting not only their own family, but other families too, because the Bible calls us to speak up for those who can't speak for themselves, defend those who can't defend themselves. But the ones that can't defend themselves are the children because they babies. And I dare anybody to come between me and any child, not yet alone mine, let alone mine. You're not coming near mine at all. I'll be 30 years plus in prison, and you'll be 6 feet under in the grave. I promise you that. I promise you that. I'll meet death before I let any of my kids meet harm, abuse, all of that. Cause I damn sure I'm not finna send them in no sleepaway camps, no uh, whatever what he called new covenant camps that he got up here. It's not even a new covenant. Well, I guess you could say yeah. It's a new promise that to never get caught, and he broke that one because he's caught. Let's finish the video.
To buy courses in which he would teach them all the tricks to purchase cheap properties with no mortgages. Although up until this point, there's no proof Brother Polight had owned any property himself, he portrayed himself as if he did, and people began buying the courses. He also charged people for status correction, which in short relates to becoming a sovereign citizen.
Please remember the time is now, and in regards to the illustrious and sovereign Nisut Amunre San Atumre, affectionately known by his peers as Brother Polight, no one has created a more effective system for our people than he has in this present day, in terms of running the application of sovereignty and real estate concurrent. While others speculate on these sciences, New Covenant is fully operational.
When you join New Covenant, number one thing that makes what we do in the status correction different is that you make money from it.
After Brother Polight saw the success of people buying whatever he was selling, he introduced a life insurance plan through New Covenant as well.
Let's talk about life insurance. I know that sounds like some white people shit. But I tell you what, I got a $180 policy that we provide New Covenant to our members. For $180, guarantee your child at least $100,000 upon your expiration. Now, we may not care about that because, shit, I got to do my thing for me. I'm going to let my baby live their life and do their thing for them. But when we become more responsible, we'll understand why the white race is ahead of us. Because one of the main things that takes place in the white community when their parents die is that they inherit wealth. They inherit wealth. You understand what I'm saying? So, you got a whole community of people who have no policy out, and you have another community of people taught you got to have a policy. So when one community dies, the next generation doesn't get shit. They have to start from scratch. And when another community dies, they're inheriting 200 grand, 300 grand, 400 grand. So I'm talking about inherited wealth. And also, I'm talking about a policy so strong that you could borrow against it. You can use it to extend loans to others, bearing interest to you as a creditor, or you can use it to engage in a vehicle endeavor or even a mortgage. You can use your policy to do such a thing and still not compromise the original momentum of the policy, which is to extend something to your beneficiary after your passing.
Brother Polight's charismatic nature and unique style of delivering his message had begun catapulting him to the top ranks of the conscious community. Sonetta TV would play a major role in his early success by platforming him on his YouTube channel for debates, in which Brother Polight almost always dominated.
Name one slave master that didn't oppress us on the strength of his religion. Name me one that oppressed us without a religion. Name me one. And then tell me religion's not our biggest issue. And show me one instance where we didn't get oppressed by a slave master and take on his religion after. Show me one.
His beliefs, which fell in line with Dr. York's teachings, completely did modern-day religions and kept out many others in the conscious community.
From idea to submission, empower students to do their best work with Grammarly's comprehensive AI writing.
How you gonna get mad at us for embracing ancient Egypt when they left documentation for the people because they knew their children need to know that it's real because they know the black mind. A sane black mind says, I want to see this thing to be proven fact. The ancient Egyptians know how black people think. So they said, yo, we're going to leave the records here so you can see, because I know my children do not just merely believe. I know my children as God. The number one thing that makes you God, the number one thing that punctuates your divinity is your ability to question. From your ability to question, you're able to discern and you're able to definitively conclude as to what's right or what's wrong. Now, the God of the Bible didn't feel it suffice to take pictures, didn't feel it suffice to build these edifices and leave documentation. We have to take publications manufactured by men with different versions and different translations.
So he says something here, and I'm not going to apologize for pausing it because, like I said, this is an old video, and if you want to go back and watch it yourself, feel free to do so. But he's talking about how people use modern day religion to oppress our ancestors, right? What our ancestors, when they was dealing with this, they was taking stuff out of the Bible to make it seem that slavery was right, and how we have to submit to slavery. If you ever heard of the slave Bible, that's where that came from, because they were taking things out of context. And you could take anything, you could take the Bible out of context. You can literally say to any oh yeah, you can twist scriptures and everything. But you see the hypocrisy. You see the hypocrisy that this man is saying. He's saying, see, and that's the thing. The saying that I was it Kangaroo Jack, an old movie. Anthony Anderson's character, he used to say, make him watch this hand instead of this one. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're taking this marker and you're telling them, watch this, watch this, watch this, guess what? They're gonna do this. Meanwhile, you're stabbing. You know what I'm saying? Or you doing something with the other hand, like those illusionists and the magicians who like they make you look at something else, and meanwhile they're taking your watch, they're taking your wallet, they're doing this, they're occupying your eyes and your mind. Meanwhile they're doing the dirt. But you see the hypocrisy, right? And him, as long as all these other fools out here that's doing this conscious community, that's in this conscious community, this woke community. You know what I'm saying? They sleep in. It's not a woke community. It's a dead community. But they're going up here talking about, oh, there's no history. There's no history. There's no history. There's no this. There's no that. Or the stuff that is found or that is part of history, they try to debunk it, or they try to, you know what I'm saying, or they cover their ears. Because one thing I notice is that when it's something that you truly believe in, and you go and somebody proves otherwise, and what they do is they get loud, they talk over you, they cover their ears, they start throwing tantrums because now they're making it seem like all this time what they're doing is dumb. But they're talking about how the oppressors use, like I said, use modern day religion to oppress our ancestors. But these people are using modern day semantics or whatever you want to call it to oppress the modern day people today. They're oppressing them intellectually because uh, uh, if you're not rooted, if you don't even have an ounce of intellect or an ounce of righteousness or just an ounce of common sense, you're gonna believe everything that they say. You're gonna be like, interesting. That's you know what? He don't sound instead of doing your own due diligence and going about it yourself. Because if you're not a person that's just gonna go for everything that you hear, you'll be fine. If you don't believe everything you hear, you'll be good. But if you're one of those people that believe everything you hear, you're gonna believe that a clown is the Messiah. All they gotta do is make it sound good. Because people, excuse me, people want to use any and every excuse to do their foolishness. You see what he's doing. You see what he did. You see what he's done. Him, there's other people, like I said, Umar Johnson, scamming people, asking for getting mad. Because I remember there was a video uh, a few years ago that he got mad because a sister cashed apped, cashed apped him $10 and he said, next time make it 20. What? Just like Marvin Sapp closed the doors. Creflo Dollar getting mad because people don't tithe or don't give the certain amount of money. I think another pastor, I don't even know his name. I don't care to know his name. Got mad at the same thing because he said he wanted people to donate, and this was recently. This was just after Marvin Sapp's whole close the door deal. And this pastor, like I said, I don't know his name and I don't care to know his name, got mad because, and matter of fact, he outed somebody because he wrote a check. He said a check for no more than $1,000 or something like that, or 1,200. Some lady wrote a check for $800. He gonna say something. You weren't listening. I said no more than this. I was like, man, I would have took my check and walked out. Matter of fact, I wouldn't even wrote a check. How dare you tell me? Matter of fact, tithe is 10%. But how dare you tell me that $800 in today's time, that's a lot of money. Hell, $100 is a lot of money. Hell, $100 only get you a couple things at Walmart versus how it used to be. You could have carts with $200, $150. Yeah, your cart, your house will be filled for over a week. $100 only puts five things in your cart now, and you getting mad at me for putting for $1,000, and you tell me I'm not listening. Damn, if I'm listening, I'm still giving you money. At that point, I would have. And this right here is why so many people are turning their hearts away from God because of stupid people like the pastors, them corrupted pastors who don't have their house in order, who don't have they own that themselves in order, don't even have their church in order. Only look at dollar signs and greed and fall into many temptations, and you're the fools to go with it because you're looking at your pastor as the Messiah instead of looking at the Messiah himself. And then you got fools like him, brother Polight. You know what I'm saying? Fool Polight. Let me stop because I'm going into folly and I don't need to do all that. But I'm just speaking how it is. You got people like him, and along with all these other people out here that that boo boo on the Bible, but they still they doing their dirt behind your back because they making you look at this side instead of what they doing, and that's the whole objective. Anybody who preaches outside of the Messiah is the Antichrist, and this right here is a prime example of the Antichrist because he speaks well, he's crafty with his words, he can manipulate you. You know what I'm saying? He can make anything look and sound good. He got a fan base. He got a bunch of people. Matter of fact, he he was talking about how he because he was homeschooling his kids and having them into and I do one thing about it is I do agree with some of the things when it comes to these school systems, right? because they don't teach the truth. They're going by a whole other curriculum. But that's why it's up to you to teach them the knowledge of truth, to come into the knowledge of truth, the truth about. And I'm not just talking about the Bible. I'm just talking about, like, history, the truth about Christopher Columbus, the truth about Thanksgiving, the truth about Christmas. I'm going to expose all that in due time. Matter of fact, I'm working on a PowerPoint about Christmas. But that shouldn't be anything new. You can go on Google now and just type in this, and you can get the information for yourself. Check your sources. You know what I'm saying? There's books. Read books. It's time for us people to wake up. Everybody, not just my people, but just, I'm saying, our people, but just people in general. Just wake up, man. Wake up. Wake up. Even if you don't want to get into the Bible, that's your own prerogative. I'm not here to force anybody on anything. I'm just saying, as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord in this house. But if you do what you want to do, the only thing I'm here to tell you is stop looking at people like this. Stop glorifying people like this. Stop glorifying man. Don't even. I'm not even saying don't even glorify me. Please don't glorify me. I'm not even worthy to be glorified. Nor do I want to be glorified. I walk in the path of obedience, and as long as I'm doing the will of God and walking in obedience and calling out things that need to be called out, so you can steer your kids away from people like this, that's the only thing I care about. If you want to fall into this, if you are an adult, that's your stupidity. But please leave your children out of it, because this right here, you look at this. This is a prime example of where not to have your kids, or who not to have your children around. And it's going to be worse for him when he get out of prison. But he might fall into somebody might take him in, because you know what I'm saying, because he a flunky. He a flunky. Just like young Pharaoh. You know what I'm saying? Is you know God be with him, even though he ain't got nowhere close to God in him. Ain't no spirit of God in him. It's a spirit of something in him, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? He's been brought to ruin as well. He don't see his children. He was he's another example doing the same thing. Matter of fact, him and brother Polight used to be buddy buddy. He used to look at Polight as a like a big brother slash father figure, as a mentor. Then they had a falling out because, ironically, uh, brother Polight scammed young Pharaoh. And this is before young Pharaoh became all corrupted and all that kind of stuff. He was still getting his feet in the water, and and brother Polight gave him a taste of his own medicine. And so what young Pharaoh did was he took that same thing and applied it to himself and started scamming everybody else. He was another one. Talked fast, crafty. You know what I'm saying? He had a what you would call a photographic memory, to where he could read a book and recite everything that was in that book. He just regurgitated uh, uh, books, just like people regurgitate scripture. Because if you just reading what you say, you just reading what you read or saying what you read, you're not even breaking down in the understanding of what it means. And there's so many people, and they read the Ten Commandments. Honor your father and thy mother. Thou shalt not murder. Thou shalt not commit adultery. This, and that. You know what I'm saying? Yes, right. But what does it mean? What did the Messiah say about murder? What did the Messiah say about adultery? Break that down. What does that mean? You commit adultery in your heart. It all starts in the heart. What does that mean? Don't lust over the flesh. You reap from the flesh. You sow from the flesh. You're gonna reap from the flesh. You lust over things. That's all you're gonna think about. And that's why people can't tell me that that's not real. Because when you fall into this kind of stuff, this snares of greediness, and you're gonna be tempted every time. You're gonna be wanting more women. You're gonna want more money. You're gonna constantly sow from the flesh, because you're gonna want more, 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 and you're gonna do whatever it takes to do it. And the thing is, these people who don't want to work a job, and I get it, I understand some of these, and I don't understand. And I get, well, I do to a certain extent. Let me take that back, because I understand, like, in the sense of, if you have a criminal record, like myself, you do that. It is harder for you to find certain jobs, at least good jobs for that matter. You know what I'm saying? But there are jobs out here, you know. But that all comes with being humble. That all just comes with being humble. You know what I'm saying? If you're so filled with pride, if you're so filled with pride, your thing is how can I make the next dollar without doing it righteously? Oh, I know. I'm gonna scam these people. Well, how am I gonna do that? All right. Well, we're gonna do this. We're gonna glorify the black, and and really that's what's really how they're getting a lot of their money, is they're saying the black woman is God, filling these women. Don't get me wrong, I love my black women. I mentioned this in a previous video. My wife is black. I love my wife. I love her to death and to life. But she's not my God. Do I honor her? Of course. Do I treat her and love her? Treat her with respect and love her? Of course. But she's not my God. Will I protect her to the very death of me? Will I allow her to see harm? Absolutely not. Will I bear her burdens? Of course I will. But she's not my God. I won't bow down to her. If she's walking in unrighteousness, as her husband, I'm gonna pray over her and correct her, not control her, but correct her. That they know we're gonna stand for righteousness over here. The sanctified husband prays or sanctifies, the praying husband sanctifies over the wife or the unbelieving wife, and vice versa. Are we a team? Of course. She has her role, I have mine. Do we work together? If I stumble, does she pick me up? Of course. When she stumbles, do I pick her up? Of course. That's what it's like to be a righteous married man, or be a righteous man. Period. You stand for righteousness, and you stand, and you reject unrighteousness, and you call it out by any means necessary. The Bible teaches us to be kind, compassionate. The Bible teaches us to be loving, not to retaliate, not to do an eye for an eye, not to be petty, not to stir among drunkenness, not to be whoremongers, how to be fathers, not to provoke our children in anger. The Bible teaches us to listen to our elders, to respect our parents. The Bible teaches us not to gossip, not to shed innocent blood, not to stir amongst the wicked, to stand in the path of sinners, or even stir around mockers. The Bible teaches us that if you stumble, shake the dust off your feet and rise up again. The Bible teaches us to be good. The Bible teaches us to be bold as lions. The Bible teaches us to set boundaries, learn to say no to unrighteousness, to wickedness. Matter of fact, the Bible teaches us to not even be around all that. Like I stated, the Bible teaches us to surround ourselves with like-minded people of righteousness, because bad company corrupts good character. The Bible teaches us that though we have our trials and tribulations, it's to build our faith, to make us stronger, to come out a better and a stronger version of our previous selves. The Bible doesn't teach us to the Bible teaches us to respect our authority, but it doesn't say bow down to unrighteousness. The Bible doesn't say that if authority teaches you to the Bible teaches us to glorify man. It doesn't teach us to glorify man. Matter of fact, the Messiah said there is no one good but God. And he was the Messiah. The Bible teaches us to listen to not lean on our own understanding, but always trust in God and let Him direct our path. Because when we try doing things our own way, this happens. When we start doing things our own way, we fall into traps like this. We set ourselves up to where now we're behind bars, or we are bouncing from pillar to post because we're so full of pride. We don't want to get a job. But see now, because of this whole thing, it's gonna be even harder for him to even find something because ain't nobody gonna want to work with him because this right here, he's put such a stain on on himself and his reputation to where just having him on their platform is gonna be bad for business. He's bad for business. I understand that you got to move on, but you also got to, like I said, the Bible says you reap from the flesh, you're gonna you sow from the flesh. I keep getting that backwards. If you sow from the flesh, you're gonna reap from the flesh. If you sow from the spirit, you're gonna reap from the spirit. That's why the Bible tells us to go by the spirit. You can't be righteous without abiding by the spirit because your flesh is gonna contradict it every time. Because your flesh is gonna want you to want more. Your flesh is greedy. Your flesh is carnal. Your flesh is the one that lusts over a bunch females. You know what I'm saying? A bunch of them. Instead of just one righteous woman, you're gonna want them all. And the thing about it is, the Bible says, "Hell hath no fear like a woman scorned." This is why polygamy is so dangerous because, like I stated, to where it ain't like this is the top one, this is the bottom one. Like what I mean by that is you can't just treat them differently. Like you can't just treat one wife better than the other. Then you got to treat them all the same. Their kids that come with them, if y'all and the kids y'all have together. So if you got two kids by one kid by this one, and three kids by that one, if they have kids on top of that, guess what? You got to take care of them and their kids. And see, that's what happened. This is what greed does to you because when you realize you got to treat all of them, and he was bringing in, I think, more women to for polygamy. I'm looking at it like, what? And these women are agreeing with it. And maybe not. Maybe they has their doubts, but he was just like, you know what? No, we're gonna bring this. He probably brought him. You know what I think what happened is he just um, brought him in and said, you know what? Engaging in all types of foolishness, homosexuality, and all that. What they call swingers, orgies, and all that kind of stuff. Just one big sex party. But then he realized you got all these kids and all these responsibilities and all these women that you have to provide for. You realize that a 9 to 5 ain't gonna provide for all them. So guess what? You got to come up with a way to scam people. You got to scam people out of thousands and thousands of dollars. And the Bible says pride comes before the fall. And God is exalting His judgment on all of these people. Their father's the devil. The devil is trying to just bring down as many people as he can. He can give a damn about you. Matter of fact, he's not even worried about you because you're doing his work. You making his job easy. Oh, you got locked up? Not my problem. Oh, you didn't lost your family? Not my problem. You didn't lost your house? Not my problem. I'm going to the next. Who else can I bring down? That's what Satan's doing. He's like, he's checking off his list. Oh, got another one. Ha, sucker! These people are treating it's ironic because these people out here, these fools out here are calling us suckers. Devil calling them suckers. And he got the final laugh. He doing this. All right. They look at it like, we got another one, baby. We got another sucker. We got more $1,000 in our account. Meanwhile, that was like he's tallying them up, boy. He's tallying them up. There's gonna be so many people getting tossed into that lake of fire. That's why it's important for us to get right. And I'm not trying to laugh at his misfortunes, but at the same time, somebody has to bring this to light because this is the prime example that's gonna be forever. Because out there for perpetuity. As long as it's social media, people gonna forever click on these videos, and it's gonna be a constant reminder of what happens when you become greedy, or when your devils finally show their horns. Let me finish up.
This is what we left with, King James versions of the Bible. We have to be left with this. But in ancient Egypt, it's right there.
At one point during his career, he would shoot up a holy Bible, which outraged many people.
Hold on, can't see the rest of the sentence. Too much fucking holes in it. Look at that shit. That's right. Now it's a holy Bible. That's right. Clearly a holy
That's
Bible
right.
now.
That's
Written
right.
across the top of the Bible, Brother Polight shot up with the letters ISUPK, which is also known as the Hebrew Israelites. Brother Polight and the Hebrew Israelites have been at odds since he first stepped onto the scene, regurgitating Dr.
Hold on. I want to say something, and this is props to Captain Tazoriak, because Captain Tazoriak, even though I don't agree with 100% of things that he believes in or that he preaches, one thing that I can definitely say that I agree upon is he called him a coward, because he's bold with it. He's bold. I agree with him with 95% of what him and I think his name is Brother Kataza or Captain Kataza. I don't know if he's a captain or no. I know Captain Tazoriak, and I was um, watching Captain Tazoriak for years, for over a decade. Matter of fact, when hearing from Saw Netta, that's how I got introduced to Captain Tazoriak. But one thing that I that there was a video where, and this is props to Captain I like, forgive me, brother, if you ever see this, and I don't know if you're a captain or not, but one thing about it is he was going back and forth, and Katazar didn't back down. Katazar was like, um, called his spiritual father, which is what they talking about, Dr. York, who's doing 200 years in prison. Rightfully so, because he was yeah, yeah, watch the part one. But anyway, he said, your spiritual father is a child molester. And then uh that's when Brother Polight try to say, throw your hands, throw your hands. Man, Captain Tazoriak stepped up and said, if you're gonna cross the line, cross the line. And that's how his radio show or podcast show got his title too, Cross the Line. But he called him out and said, what he's like, you a coward. You let your wife dress like a whore. You ain't got no structure. You let a wife's emotions take over. You not no leader. You a coward. And you thought this brother was weak. And that's the thing. And that's all these people are, is cowards. Anybody who manipulates a child is a coward, because they know for a fact that they can't stand against a grown man. Because if they step up against a grown man, they're gonna cower every time. They're gonna run away every time. Or matter of fact, they gonna try to press charges. They're gonna run to the police. Anybody who taught matter of fact, the Messiah even said, anybody who causes a child to stumble, you might as well tie a rope around your neck and go deep into the deepest depths of the sea. In other words, kill yourself, because you robbing innocence. You shedding innocent blood. You are uh, uh, causing children to stumble. Matter of fact, we're gonna go to it. I'll tell you what the Bible say. I'll tell you exactly what the Bible say. Whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to if a millstone were hung around his neck and he was drowned in the deep depth of the sea. Woe to the world because of offenses, for offenses must come, but woe to that man by whom the offenses come. take pity on him because you just not you just crossing the threshold of judgment, brother. You just crossing the threshold, and it's people like Captain Tazoriak and Brother Katazar, and you know what I'm saying. Like I said, I don't agree with everything in the Bible. Let me take that back. Lord, forgive me. I don't agree with everything that they say because I do believe that anybody who walks in the Messiah or who accepts the Messiah and does God's laws and walk in righteousness have uh, access to eternal life if they keep the law. Because the only thing that the Messiah abolished or fulfilled, because he said, I didn't come to abolish the law, but to fulfill the law. That was the sacrificial law, people. The sacrificial law. That was the only law that he fulfilled. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that we don't have to do. We don't have to slaughter a goat or slaughter a sheep or a bull, you know what I'm saying, without blemish. But everything else we got to do. We got to still keep his feasts and festivals. We still got to keep the commandments. We still got to keep the Torah. Because that's what the Messiah was teaching, was the Torah. It didn't become the New Testament until after he resurrected and ascended. To where now we can go by the Holy. Now we have access to God through the Holy Spirit. That's the grace part. Grace is because he's not slow to his promises, be not wanting the righteous to perish. We have a grace period of getting it right and repenting. But we still have to do good works. We still have to keep the law. The new covenant was now, because the Israel broke the old covenant, the new covenant was through the Messiah. To where, because he divorced Israel. And he brought the Messiah through the tribe of Judah to marry him back. And through his blood and through his sacrifice that we have access. But it was the sacrificial law. And when you accept the Messiah and walk in the body and become a part of the body of the Messiah, you are adopted under the sonship of God. Now, do I believe that there's some corrupted white people? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's corrupted black people. I'm looking at one right now. Well, not right now. I don't know these brothers, but I'm reacting to one right now. That's a corrupted brother who's lost. And until he gets right and humbles himself before the throne of grace, which he probably won't, because the Bible says that the only way to get to me is though the one who sent me, which was the Father, draws them to him. The only way to get to God is through the Messiah. But the only way to do that is God has to draw them near. But anyway, that's all I got to say on this. Let me see how long I got here. It's still about 30 minutes. I'm gonna react for another 5-10 minutes, and then I'm gonna end it here.
New York's teachings. The most prominent person spearheading the ISUBK movement in New York City is Captain Tazoriak.
If you can show me what is corrupt in the Bible, then I'll stop using it. The problem is you cannot show what's corrupt in the Bible. If nigga was not in the Bible, then you would have something against me. If the Bible didn't say the Jews were black, you might have something against me. If Solomon himself, King Solomon, did not say, I am black but comely, if he did not say that, then you might be able to say something to me about saying that it's corrupt. If you can show me that our slavery is not in the Bible, then you might also have a chance. But you cannot show me that those things are not in the Bible. So when you say, why do we keep following the Bible, is because I ain't find nothing else on the planet that identifies who I am.
Besides their different outlooks on the Bible and religion, another major disagreement that Captain Tazoriak had with Brother Polight was that the black woman is God. This was something Polight promoted that Captain Tazoriak adamantly disagreed with.
We can give you a 10-hour lecture on this and do the debate the day after. That's right. With new content. There's no debating that the black woman is God.
The tension between Captain Tazoriak and Polight would come to a head later on down the line when Polight got into a disagreement with one of the members of the Hebrew Israelites. Polight would get offended when the member called him out for following Dr. York and pointed out the fact that he was his spiritual father and a pedophile.
But he's supposed to lead black people. A man who gets this emotional when it is a proven fact that his father is a molester.
He's doing all
You don't know that? He's been molested since what, the 70s, 80s? Since the 60s.
My father's a molester.
Lord have mercy. That's what you gotta understand now. That's what you gotta understand.
Say it again.
Let me tell you something, bro. So you're telling me he's not? You're telling me he didn't get convicted? And now you instantly want to get carnal? Your spiritual daddy is a child molester. He raped that little boy. Because men like you and men in the conscious community, the only thing that they can do is destroy our people. You got no answers. You got no solutions. No people.
It's that you're a white man trying to cause confusion.
You got it, Chris.
You're a white man that's going to make black men fight each other. There you go. You're a white man that's going to cause black people to fight each other.
Let me tell you how much of a bitch Polight is. What the brother said was correct. His spiritual father, who he called, was a fucking child. Your father is a child molester. Period. And he was the punk contestant. If you want to cross the road, cross the road. That's what you do. Don't sit here and talk shit like what's going to do this in the line. Cross the line. Otherwise, get the fuck out.
Now we got to go and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Maybe where's the golf?
Out of here. That's what you do.
Besides his issues with the Hebrew Israelites, whispers began circling around the conscious community about Polight scamming people. Some of his followers began speaking out.
I got a settlement from a car accident. I got $22,000 from a settlement in a car accident, and I spent $5 of that $22,000 with Brother Polight and didn't get a single dime back. That's my dumb ass. That was my dumb ass fault. Just because you black don't mean you my people. I'm going to get that out the way. And because like all black, because the people that Brother Polight is taking advantage of is people that are ignorant. I was ignorant at one particular time.
And he is absolutely right. Just because you black don't mean that you my people. And I'm sorry that this happened to this brother. Lesson learned. We've all had our moments of ignorance and not knowing no better. But, you know, hopefully he will never put his trust in another man again. But no, yeah, my heart goes out to this brother too. And along with the other ones too that fell victim to this. But this should be a lesson, and this should be a wake-up call for a lot of people of what happened when you put your trust in men. In man, period. In human. You know what I'm saying? Instead of putting your trust into where it belongs, into the Most High, where he clearly commands us to, in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, because this is a clear example of what happens when you do things on your own. And this is why you should never let people in your pockets. You know what I'm saying? Because thing is about it, because he said that he had a settlement from a car accident, you know, praise to the Most High that, you know, it wasn't, that he didn't lose his life. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, this right here, the settlement awarded him $22,000, and he spent $5,000 of that to Brother Polight. And this is the problem. And this is where greed comes in, because when people like Brother Polight see that people are investing or donating or whatever the case, or sending money, willingly sending money with a lot of zeros, the first thing that speaks to them is, oh, this brother got, or this sister got money. Let's see how much money I can get out of it. That's why you should never let people know how much money you got, period. Unless that money is going to your kids or being invested into your kids, and you teach your kids not to let people in their pockets either. Never let, you know what I'm saying? You willingly giving money thinking that this is going to change it, and then you got scammed. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I'm not boo-booing on this man here, because he even said, like, you know, that was his own fault. Because like I said, we've all had moments of ignorance where, you know, and this is, like I said, this is a prime example of what happens is when you put your trust in people who they mask themselves in angels of light. Like I said, the only new covenant that he established is how not to get caught. But his other devil's horns were showing. Maybe he was, he was stealing, robbing, and killing in the past. He's still robbing and killing now. He just masking himself. He just, what I'm saying, he's just disguising it more. But the his devilish horns wasn't fully hidden, wasn't completely hidden, because this was the result. But yeah, for all these people that fell victim to brother Polite scamming, I mean, lesson learned. You know what I'm saying? That's it. If you have, as long as you don't put your trust in false teachers or leaders or just man in general, you'll be all right. But the real victims, like I said before, are the children who were affected. The children of Malachi York, was it whatever his name is, uh, brother Polite, um, all these other people who feel the need that they have to harm and abuse children because you ain't nobody but a coward. And thank thank the Most High for people like Captain Tazoriak, who stood in his face. He stood in the devil's face in the hand of righteousness and said, "Your father, your spiritual father, is a child molester. Your spiritual father, or your father, because Brother Polite didn't have a father, so he looked to him." But that's the thing, and it's just like the blind leading the blind. Look at the pattern here. Brother Polite went from a life of crime to following a man who got booked for all these abuse allegations and all these convictions of of all these boys and girls that, what I'm saying, he abused, to now he's the one, now that he's been put away, he's doing the abusing now. Now he's doing the abusing, and now he's got caught. And that's the thing, is these people follow these other devils, and they're picking up the characteristics of these devils. Like the Messiah said, your father is Satan. Your father is Satan. And you got the nerve to talking about uh, Christianity religion is setting our people back. No, you setting our people back. You. Our Bible teaches us to be righteous. Whatever Bible that you're reading, because the show ain't the Holy Bible. Whatever unholy doctrine that you speaking of is teaching you to is showing the people how to be wicked, or what I'm saying, how to scam, how to abuse children. That's you. But I'm gonna come to a close. If you guys want to watch the video or finish the video, if you haven't done so, I'm gonna try to click. I'm gonna try to I'm gonna copy the link, and I'm gonna copy and paste the link so you can go ahead and click it yourself. But let me go ahead and there we go. But that's all for the video that I'm gonna share, that I'm gonna react to. Hope you guys be blessed. Hope you guys stay rooted. Hope you guys continue to study to show yourself approved, because tomorrow is not promised, and we never know when the Most High is going to return. But even then, that's not something that you want to look at, because you don't know when he's going to return. It could be 100 years from now. The only important is for our mortal souls and our mortal bodies. We don't know how much time we got. We don't know if we're gonna make it through the rest of the day. I pray that we do, but we don't know. But with that in mind, repent, seek God in His righteousness, and everything else will be added to. But yeah, other than that, saints, I hope you guys, like I said, be blessed. I'll see you guys on the next video. We out of here.